10 years ago, I made a little series called Game or Die. This is a massively self-indulgent video, I know, I'm aware of that, but I just didn't feel like talking about any movie in particular this month, so I figured why not. And this can kind of act as a 10-year anniversary special, even though it's 5 months late. Just me doing a little retrospective on it and explaining what it was all about to the 7 people who will watch this video. It's very silly, and you can very obviously tell it was made by a 14-year-old. But for the most part, I actually just kind of like the vibes of the show. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. What is a Game or Die? I'm glad you asked. Game or Die was a fake reality show where each week 2 of the contestants would compete in some video game challenge, and the loser would die. They would get murdered. The show would execute them. It's a hell of a gimmick, I know. Each episode had 2 parts: the confessional segments where each character spoke to the camera, and the challenges themselves. And also the bits where host would talk. No, he's not the host. His name is literally just host. And the 10 characters were Jones, who is very competitive and tapes his right hand. Bob, who is just the chillest, nicest guy ever. And I actually like this bit where every week there was some weird thing that I included, like a fun fact about each contestant. I think it's a cute bit. Richard.
I'm Richard. I don't like...
Or Dick, who hates being called Dick. That's his whole character.
If anyone calls me Dick, I'm going to stab them.
Dan Ian Evans, aka Die, who, honestly, I don't think I got much past his name with that one. The most popular character on the show, Chad.
I'm Chad, your winner for this competition.
Johnny, who is from my other stupid web show called Home of 12 Johnnies, which is a real thing I made once. The joke is that I never explain which Johnny he is.
You may know me from Home of 12 Johnnies. I play the Johnny that, well...
7, who loves 7.
Everyone calls me 7 because I love 7. That's my favorite number.
Jeff, who...
Hi. I'm Jeff. People say often say that I'm not right in the head, that I'm crazy. Hi, I'm
Damien, who has a basketball he likes. Again, that's his whole character. To be fair, I later do explain that his basketball can steal people's souls. So I guess it's kind of reasonable to like it. Cerberus, who has 3 personalities. Do you get it? I'm just so clever with these names. I might just be too clever for you. Again, getting a little ahead of myself, but Cerberus is the worst part of season 1. I'll get more into it, but the split personality thing, it's played way too seriously. I do make jokes, but they're just not that funny, and it sucks because, spoilers, he's gonna be here the entire show. And finally, Eric, whose whole gimmick is that he gets killed off in the first episode, and it's pretty obvious he's gonna be the one to die in the first episode. And that's it. Those are the characters. What a lovely bunch they all are. Another issue with the show is that it was clearly improv. The confessional bits work well because even though they're improv and you can clearly tell, I cut them down so much that they really do keep up the pace and keep things moving. I really like the confessional segments here. But the gameplay challenge part, there's basically no edits because a lot of the challenges involve time. How fast can you do something? So I didn't want to have any edits because then people would think I just cheesed the times and didn't really do it. And honestly, I probably should have because people knew it was a fake show anyway. And it's pretty obvious that I was cheesing the times. Like as some characters, you could tell I was playing the game more poorly because I knew they were supposed to be eliminated that episode. The only good thing about them, I will say, is that they don't last too long. They were all pretty short challenges. Each episode was about 20 minutes, the length of like a TV episode. And I think that's why I enjoyed coming back to the show, because so many of my old videos, it's like you could tell I wasn't really editing them much, but here I really was trimming things down apart from the gameplay challenge portions. That's what makes a lot of these episodes so surprisingly watchable, even though there's a lot of, let's just say it, cringe. And pretty immediately I stumbled upon a problem with this format. So I should mention that this series actually did get kind of like popular among my friend group. You know, they would watch and I would listen to their thoughts and ask them what they thought of each episode and who they thought was going to win. I had fun listening to their thoughts, and like I would make episodes thinking, oh man, I want to see how they react to this moment, or this character dying, or this joke, or whatever. And in episode 2, thinking nothing of it, I killed off the character Jeff. You know, the weird one, the one who licked his sword. And I remember at least one of my friends being like, Jeff was a good character, you shouldn't have killed him off. And I'm like, yeah, actually, he was right, because Jeff was honestly one of the best characters. He's much better than like Seven, who disappointingly lasts very long in the show. I think he's eliminated in episode 7, and that's the only reason I called him Seven. Jeff definitely should have stayed around longer, and I think it was a waste killing him off, and I realized that. And so, I started hinting that Jeff was still alive.
There's been some rumors going around that Jeff apparently is still alive and planning to kill me. It's not true, guys.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
Which is honestly a pretty big problem with the show's format. You have to make 10 interesting, entertaining characters and then kill off 9 of them. And this will be a recurring thing with the show, because death is really not final in this series.
It's not true, guys.
And then in episode 3, we start expanding on the Cerberus arc, and it's horrible. Cerberus is like overcomes his split personalities, and I explain that the reason that happens is because of Damien's soul-stealing basketball. So there is, you know, it's an airtight plot. I really thought it out. It's unimpeachable. Genuinely, I think Bob has a better arc. He loses in that episode because he finally gets angry. And like, it's not genius, but it's basic storytelling. And it makes sense. And it's funny. It's kind of a funny bit. Just so many of the other characters are so much more fun. Like, Richard learns that the editor has been putting Dick as his name tag the entire show. And he gets angry and plots a course of revenge to win a challenge and then stab the host. Or even Chad, who at this point in the show, halfway through, hasn't done shit.
We're almost halfway through the competition, and I haven't even done shit. Could you imagine if I actually started doing shit? I'd get even further.
Like, he starts a hashtag.
Chad 4, number 4, the win. The win. Not the win, the win.
Cerberus is only funny in the sense that it adds a contrast to the rest of the show. If you look at what Cerberus is going through on the show and what Chad is going through on the show, it's kind of funny.
Oh God! Oh God, that's my head. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Can I say anything other than oh God? Oh God.
That ending of that episode where I'm getting my head slammed in the door, I think one of my friends was confused by it. So at the start of the next episode, I included an explanation of what really happened.
We merely knocked him out with a door and then proceeded to take him into the torture room. We tend to knock people out before we take them to the torture room.
Honestly, something that's aged really well, and I think ended up being the best bit about the whole show, is the really weird, nonchalant attitude I had to characters being brutally murdered. Just how casually I mentioned, like, oh yeah, we were taking him to the torture room, and we just had to incapacitate him before we got into the torture room. It's the funniest and most charming part of the series. Anyway, shit hits the fan in episode 6. Not literally, Chad. Dick wins and then follows through on his plan of attacking the host. And what's funny is I didn't have face cam at the time. I didn't have any way of doing that because I was making these in Windows Movie Maker. Instead, I just acted out the drama like it was a radio show.
Well, what do you have to say, Dick? I mean, you fucking...
Next week, it's explained that Jones wasn't killed even though he lost. And Dick wasn't killed because he won, but he's been disqualified because he attacked the host. It makes sense. And he's just being tortured continuously. Again, just a really casual, like, yeah, the character's being tortured horribly. And Jones, who I said his character was that he taped up his right wrist, but I also really hammered home that he was very competitive and liked to win.
People say that I'm too competitive,
And he isn't happy that he lost, but got away with it.
I thought if you lost, you should die. And I lost. And I didn't die. So I feel like I cheated.
And again, not trying to toot my own horn too much, it's not genius, but I understood basic storytelling. I think that's a neat way to take the character. What I did not understand was basic tension and how to build a jump scare.
I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm just gonna be quiet for a second so you can listen to it, okay?
Okay?
Oh shit!
That's such a funny way to build up a jump scare. Could you imagine if they did that shit in horror movies? Hold on, let's be quiet for a second and then just a loud noise happens. Anyway, in a super tense, dramatic, crucial moment that isn't laughable, Damien sacrifices himself for Cerberus. So that happens. Episode 8, Jones smuggles in a hammer.
I smuggled in this hammer. And
And in a super dramatic moment, Seven finds Jeff's sword, which of course means that he's alive.
this is Richard's screwdriver and he's still alive. So that can only mean that Jeff's still alive.
What is that? What is that logic? Imagine you find like your great grandma's necklace or something. Oh my God, she's alive! And also Cerberus's personalities escape.
Oh, that's right, bitch. We got out of Damien's basketball.
I love that line. And we escaped Damien's basketball. This is what I mean by you can tell it was made by a 14-year-old, but it's kind of endearing because of that. Only something made by a kid could have a line as insane as that. And I kind of love it for what it is. And then it doesn't make sense because Cerberus kills them both immediately, but then it's revealed he's just seeing things and kind of going crazy, and I don't understand. I guess it's just like Damien's basketball is really strong and it can contain their souls.
Why is he not bleeding?
Like, it's such a weird story beat because I don't follow through with any of it. And I guess I just wanted to get over that Damien's basketball was really good at containing those souls. Like, I wanted to have that moment of Cerberus physically overcoming his other personalities, but I didn't want to make Damien's basketball look weak. It's a weird story beat. And then in episode 9, we finally see Jeff alive again. And his character sucks now. I was really trying to play up the drama of he's alive and oh no, that should be scary. I shouldn't make him like a funny character anymore. That was the whole reason to keep him alive in the first place, was that he was funny. He's not a weirdo anymore. He doesn't lick his sword anymore. And he's just not as fun anymore. He's just generic villain bad guy now. And he's taken far too seriously. I wonder if this is a harbinger for things to come. Anyway, Jones escapes the show pretty easily. Like, it's not that big a deal. And, okay. Again, a weird story beat. He literally never comes back in any other episode, so Jones just lives and escapes, game or die. I don't know why I chose Jones for this story beat. And finally, the season 1 finale. Cerberus has to avoid Jeff trying to get in, and it becomes a shitty horror movie for a second.
They did,
But yeah, Cerberus wins.
nothing could ruin this moment.
Damn, I wonder how this joke's gonna play out.
I'm here to ruin this moment.
Oh, and Chad dies. Jeff kills him. He's dead. He is sleeping with the fishes. And that's how season 1 of Game or Die ends. It's this cliffhanger with Jeff about to attack Cerberus and the host. Sorry, host. And honestly, season 1's not horrible. Obviously, I'm biased. I think if someone just came across these videos for the first time now, they would not think they were that good. But there's some funny bits here and there. And I did, like I said, understand basic storytelling. The format of fake reality show where characters get eliminated one by one is just kind of inherently interesting, and I think I channeled that energy really well with the show. And also just the fucking weird creative energy I had. Like, I had a basketball prop and I just made up some shit that it was a soul-stealing basketball. It can steal personalities from people. Like Cerberus was actually literally 3 different souls in one body, and he could steal 2, or maybe he stole like 2/3 of Cerberus's soul. I shouldn't think about the logistics of this. But anyway, I love that kind of stupid, silly creativity. But we go back to this problem of having to kill characters. I wanted to kill Chad because I already, Jeff didn't die. Jones, I had planned to escape the show for some reason. Dick.
She wanted Dick, but I gave her crack.
Dick didn't die. So that's 2 characters who already should have died who haven't. And I didn't want to add Chad onto the list. The show is called Game or Die. The tagline, oh god, the tagline's so stupid. I forgot to mention how stupid the tagline is.
This is Game or Die, the show about games and death.
That has to be the dumbest, worst tagline imaginable. It's called Game or Die. You don't need to then explain that it is a show about games and death. Like Survivor, the show about not dying. But I digress. Killing characters was a problem. I wanted to kill Chad because I wanted the stakes to feel real. I knew it would be a dramatic moment because people liked Chad. I don't want Chad to actually be dead, but I kind of want him to be dead. So I came up with a cunning plan to play Chad without playing Chad.
Alright, so, I'm Brad. You may know my brother. His name was Chad or some shit. I don't know, this guy wasn't nearly as awesome as me.
So Brad, the character that I have played for the longest time, was actually just a backup retcon replacement character because I killed off Chad. And what's funny to me about that is not that, it's the fact that I made a movie starring Brad about Brad a few years ago, and it's so funny to me that depressing ass movie is in the same universe as the soul-stealing basketball. And what I didn't realize was that because Johnny from Home of 12 Johnnies is in the show, that means that Home of 12 Johnnies is in the same canon as every video with Brad in it. At this point, I just wish I referenced the Teenage Mutant Ninja Humans at some point, just so every stupid series I made as a kid is canon. But I digress again. You see the point, right? Like, I made a character I liked so much that I had to invent a proxy character to just be the same character.
Although Brad obviously became his own character and became more than just Chad, but...
I digress for a third time. I don't think it was sustainable to have a fictional show with a completely rotating cast of characters. Would this be a problem in Season 2? Well, yeah, but the bigger problem with Season 2 is that I just got burnt out making these. Game or Die, I managed to make once a week, every week. And I only took a month off before I started Season 2 because I loved making the show. I was super happy with it and I wanted to keep making it. And it was a bad idea because immediately I was like, okay, I want to kind of take a break and slow things down with the show. The first season started September 27th, 2015 and ended December 24th, 2015. The second season started February 7th, 2016 and ended June 25th, 2017. And the show lost all its momentum. I think this format just works best when it is a consistent schedule and it's not that far apart between episodes. It's just not the same when the episodes are months apart from each other. And also just the editing of this season wasn't as good. I wasn't editing the confessionals as much. They were starting to get like the gameplay challenges where I just let them play unedited. And it's just not as fun. There are fun bits in there, but I just wish I cut them down more like I did in the first season. But with that said, I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself again. The characters of Season 2 are Elliot, who barely speaks, great character. Theodore, who is a massive know-it-all.
Charts say that people with sticks seem more sophisticated than people without random sticks.
She wanted stick, but I gave her dick.
Dick, who survived his continuous torture.
It's Richard, bitches!
Norris, who has a 2x4, and that's his entire character. Necrum, who finds Damien's soul-stealing basketball from the previous season. Necrum got over big with my friends because of the way he introduced himself.
Hello everyone, it's Necrum here!
They just liked his enthusiasm. Lazarus, who, do you get it? Damn, there's a character named Necrum and a character named Lazarus? Fuck, I wonder what's gonna happen in this season. Every character in the show is named like this. Wayne, who is a rich asshole and thinks everyone else is beneath him. Otis, who is a gravelly voiced former rock star who makes this noise.
Yeah?
And finally, Jeff, who was caught again, which isn't really in character and is not the same character anymore. At least he's back though. Oh, and I forgot to mention Red. He dies in the first episode. That's his character. Oh, and I also forgot to mention Beppo. See, that first episode was really long and I was aware of it. So I cut out Beppo's character introduction to save time, and I turned it into a story. I also turned the fact that it took me so long to make the next episode into a story. See, the arc of the first few episodes of the season is that Beppo is suing Gamer Die, not because he was kidnapped and forced to play a game of death, but because he wasn't included in the first episode. And that's why the schedule of episode releases was so inconsistent. You know, they were just dealing with all the legal stuff that comes with the lawsuit. I don't know, how does Beppo have lawyers in wherever they've kidnapped these people? Like, it's established this is not like a game show. It's not like they willingly signed up for this. Like, they were kidnapped. I explicitly say that in the show. So how does Beppo have lawyers? I guess he's defending himself, because that's a good idea. And I went through on the gimmick in like all aspects. The gimmick was like, oh, we don't have the money for modern games, so we have to go retro. And then in episode 4... they have to play rock, paper, scissors because the budget has gotten so tight. Which is a funny bit. You know, as much as I have criticisms of season 2, there are still some bits that really get me. These were some of the first videos I edited in Adobe Premiere, and I was going ham on the unnecessary flashy edits, and it's really funny.
I'm serious. Dead fucking serious, okay? Dead serious.
But anyway, now we gotta get into the lore of this season, and this is where the show kind of goes downhill. I just got too wrapped up in the lore and everything, and it's just not as fun. I mean, I know I did that in the first season with the whole Damien stealing Cerberus's personalities and stuff like that, but it was a little more charming there, and it was a little more silly. Here it's a bit more serious, and it's not as fun. Necrum's whole story is that Cerberus's personalities invade his mind because he touches the basketball, which allows their he accidentally like absorbs those personalities. This show's stupid, I just realized. And he also tries like planning an escape from the show. I intentionally set him up to be like the serious character of the show, so everyone watching would think that he was the obvious winner. And sure enough, I asked one of my friends who they thought would win, and they said Necrum. So I got him. Whoop-de-doo.
I need to be able to fend for myself, so I'm gonna do some karate.
It's just that the shenanigans aren't as fun here. Like, Wayne hires another competitor as a bodyguard in case he loses. And that's about it. I did start editing down the confessions again as the series went on, so there's that. And I also added a face cam during the gameplay sections, which is a good addition that I don't know why it took me so long to add it. Anyway, Lazarus dies and then comes back. Oh my god, just like The Thing. Necrum hijacks the show, sneaks into the MacGuffin room. Do you get it?
So,
gotta be really quiet here. Hey everyone, it's Necrum here.
He's trying to discover the secrets of the show. He finds Cerberus, who's also trying to hijack the show from behind the scenes, which is just funny because, spoilers, there's another character who's trying to hijack the show from behind the scenes. But in episode 9, Necrum finally gets disqualified from the competition. I don't know why it took so long. He hasn't been a part of the show for like weeks at this point. And the final comes down to Jeff, who's not that fun of a character anymore, and Otis, who has been trying to intentionally lose and die for the past like half of the show. What a fun finale for a comedy show, am I right? And in episode 20, the final episode of Game or Die, Otis wins, but he insists that Jeff needs to be killed immediately or else he'll escape again. And I forgot I revealed this, but I did reveal a big bit of lore that Otis is not actually Otis. He is actually Eric, the very first character who was eliminated from Game or Die. Now, I didn't explain how this was possible because that was supposed to come in season 3, but at this point, when I was making this episode, I kind of retconned it like, okay, this is the finale, and I just thought maybe I'll explain it eventually someday. I did have this plan though, because the name Eric, I read somewhere, I think it was one of these weird baby name meaning websites, that it meant like the beginning and the end or something. And I'm like, oh, he should be the first character eliminated and then somehow be the last character who wins the final season. Like I said, every character is named like this. Cerberus and Necrum break in to try and stop Host from killing Otis. Jesus Christ, these names. But Host has a gun, so...
No, not a shoulder wound.
And he knocks them out, saying he's just gonna put them in Game or Die Season 3, lol. But suddenly a new character leaps in with a gun and shoots the Host. Who could this mystery character possibly be?
What up, fam? Name's Brad.
So yeah, Brad sabotages the show. He reveals that he's been sneaking onto the show and sabotaging it from behind the scenes the whole time, and that's why season 2 took so long to get finished. It wasn't actually the lawsuit, it was Brad, which is out of character. Brad isn't smart enough to do something like this. I lampshade it.
No, you're a lot more literate than Chad. Thanks, fam. Never mind.
So anyway, Brad is an epic badass. He ruins the show. He finally brings the show down. There's a little cliffhanger where it's like, oh, Jeff might be following him. Oh, Jeff will find you. But the fates of Cerberus, Necrum, Otis, and Host are never explained. It really was just a tie-in for the Brad and Dan movie I was releasing like the next week, which is kind of sad that that's what this show was relegated to. It was a retcon because in the Brad and Dan movie, the plot of that movie was that Brad and Dan were being sued by Dr. Pepper 10. I just had lawsuits on the mind, I guess.
Dr. Pepper 10 is suing us for saying our drink was shit.
That's no reason to sue someone.
Well, I mean...
And so this was kind of a retcon because it ends with Host being like, Jeff's gonna find you no matter what you do. And Brad's like, we'll see about that. It's very epic. It's very epic. And it was supposed to kind of imply that Brad actually suggested faking their own deaths to get away from Jeff. It makes sense. Like I said, it's unimpeachable plot-wise. Like I said, it's very stupid and way too serious, but it's building to this super epic Poggers-based showdown between Jeff and Brad, which means I have one more video to talk about. I'm done with Game or Die, but there's one more video to talk about. It's Behind Closed Doors. It's a murder mystery parody, but it's also way too serious. People get invited to a mysterious party by a man named Jeff, but no one knows who Jeff is. And Brad's like, one of you is Jeff, and just pretending to be someone else. And people keep dying, and it's a whole thing. Brad tries explaining, but no one believes him.
There was this game show called Game or Die. That's a stupid name for a show.
Anyway, it ends when Jeff reveals himself, and Brad gets the upper hand and murders Jeff. He avenges his brother finally, and he I guess I didn't explain. He sabotaged Game or Die because his brother died, and then the host is like, "You idiot, Jeff. Jeff was the one that killed your brother, not even the Game or Die people." But Brad's still like, "Yeah, you would have killed him 5 seconds later, so fuck you anyway." So again, unimpeachable plot, and I do find it very funny that Brad, this silly character, has a kill count. Like, it's in self-defense, but like he still has murdered before. There was a cliffhanger in season 2 of Simple Tasks where Norm figured out that Brad did something.
I know what you did. Oh,
Never followed through on that, and honestly, I'm glad. Behind Closed Doors was kind of the finale for all this lore shit. I liked going back to season 1 of Game or Die because it had just that fun energy of wanting to make something funny. I think as it went on, it got too serious and deep into the lore, and I just didn't like it as much. I'm back to making Simple Tasks now and just treating it as funny videos to make, not a huge epic lore thing. I liked revisiting it, I liked explaining it, and talking about it. So that was Game or Die, and also kind of a rundown of all my old channel lore. Well, most of my channel lore. See, there's another series I only mentioned briefly here that is also hitting a 10-year anniversary pretty soon. I'll get to that when the 10-year anniversary hits. See you in 4 months' time. Thanks for watching. Brad? Why are you talking about me like I'm a fucking character? What do you mean?
Whatever.
I'm not fiction,
Fucking-
I'm real.